And we'll be talking about wife material, the phenomenon of wife material. Now we found young girls referring to themselves as wife materials. We found young boys referring to themselves as husband material. We want to know, where did that come from? Would you love to be referred to as wife material? What does it really mean? Well, with me in the studio this morning to talk about the phenomenon wife material and husband material is Onu Uboja, a fashion designer, and Rahanati. You're welcome.
Thank you.
I called the name correctly.
Ramatu.
Ramatu. I'm so sorry about that. Now, I'll start with you, Ramatu. Wife material. What does it mean to you?
Well, I don't know, actually believe in the concept.
Okay.
I don't know where it came from, My perception is that boy meets girl or girl meets boy and they like each other. They see certain qualities in each other's personalities which they like and they would like to explore. But when people talk about wife material or husband material, I don't really understand the concept, because it now means that people are being judged by generic, qualities, which doesn't really apply when it comes to human relationships.
How about you?
Wife material, husband material, basically for me, I think it has to do with those qualities that one looks out for in a particular guy or a particular lady before the forever happily after comes in. I think that's what it means for me. Those qualities you look out for in a lady or a guy before you say I do.
But to an extent, it's becoming derogatory, because people, you see a guy telling a girl, "You're not a wife material," and I wonder, you're a guy now. What is that quality that makes a woman wife material?
There are a lot of them actually. I'll just talk about a few. Wife material for me, top on my list should be someone who complements my flaws, someone who has a remedy for my flaws, someone who I can work with, like a better half, so to say. Then of course it has to be someone who has a great sense of humor. My line of job, I'm a tailor actually. I'm always under tension, always under pressure and all that. So I need someone who has this great sense of humor, who can always put me on the soft side. I necessarily don't have to be tensed all the time. So someone with great sense of humor. Then someone who is prayerful and God-fearing should be part of the qualities I look out for as well. We are in a society right now where it's either whether you are successful or not, there's this village people talk following you around. So of course I need someone who is prayerful, who can help me fight back those village people kind of thing. What I'm trying to say basically is someone who is God-fearing, someone who is prayerful. Then of course someone who is decent. While dating, I can be with someone who likes to dress in certain ways, someone who prefers perhaps mini skirts to long gowns, someone who has nose. Yeah. But when I want to get married, definitely I can't take a lady with a tongue piercing to my mom. I can't do that.
Or but you can date that kind of lady.
I'm sorry to say yes.
I'll get back to you. I'm really going to get back to you on that. But that's okay. Well, now Ramatu, he has mentioned the whole qualities supposedly.
A few of them. Actually.
A few of them.
Yeah.
No problem. And then he has mentioned how he cannot date this but can marry that. So why would you follow the woman? Well, I'll get back to you on that. Now let's talk about this wife. We find girls put themselves in awkward positions because they want to fit into this. What's your take on that?
Well, my own take is that it's generally a misconception, in our culture, that women are expected to behave, dress in a certain way. When he talked about wife material, he wasn't hitting it on the head. The idea of wife material we hear or read about on social media is a girl that can cook all the different different meals, all the soups, the food. A girl is expected to show certain characteristics if she's dating a guy, or for a guy to date her. Like she goes to visit the guy, his dishes are all dirty, there's laundry piled up, and she's expected automatically, to start washing the clothes, washing the dishes, then cooking all the different meals available to show she's wife material, which puts, girls, under pressure to behave in a certain way, and we now hear that a girl isn't considered wife material if she goes to visit her boyfriend. She doesn't go to the kitchen and start washing, doesn't go to the bathroom and start washing, carry a broom and start, sweeping to show that she's domesticated. I'm personally against that, because I believe that men have different expectations, from girlfriends or females. Putting them under such pressure is really not should I say, appropriate, because we now say, okay, if a girl is supposed to do all the domestic work, then what is a man supposed to do? Does that now mean a husband material, if he's dating a girl, should start taking care of her as is expected of a man? Meaning he should start paying her rent, start giving her housekeeping allowance, start paying school fees for children in advance to prove that his husband material, So those kind of pressure are not really, acceptable. If a guy likes a girl, if she knows how to cook, fine. If she doesn't know how to cook, there are different ways he can, encourage her to learn how to cook. And then when you say know how to cook, what kind of food are we talking about? If you are now, we have a lot of intertribal marriages, interreligious marriages, and we even have people that grow up in communities where they are not from. Some don't even understand their language. So, for example, if let's say I'm Hausa and I marry a Yoruba person and I can't cook Yoruba meals, does that mean I'm not good enough to be a wife? I'm not familiar with the culinary, food of the Yoruba people. And I shouldn't be put under pressure to, go and learn them. If I want to learn them, fine. But then I also have my culture and the kind of food I eat. So it's just a matter of coming to an understanding and learning how to cook those meals, And I actually believe that we live in a modern times now, fast-paced. Everybody has probably a career or jobs that they're doing. What you can't cook, you can order. We have different catering outfits that cook different soups in large quantities. So if you can't make that soup, either because you don't have the time or you don't even know how to make it, do you understand? You can order it, put it in small portions and put in your freezer. Then when you want to cook, you can, you just turn the semo, the eba or the amala or whatever and make the soup. Does that make you any less of a woman than someone that stays over the stove, cooking, sweating, growing old, haggard, because she's trying to prove that she's can cook.
Wife material.
She's a wife material. I think.
The issue of wife material, the qualities to look out for, I think it's not generalized. I think it's different strokes for different folks. Okay. You laid emphasis on cooking and all that. For me, cooking is not one of the qualities I look out for when I'm in search of a wife material, because I know how to cook. So if you don't know how to cook, that's not a problem for me. Like you said, there are different online cooking outlets here and there. All you need to do is just ask. If I have the time, I will definitely cook. So I don't care whether you know how to cook.
That's a very nice plus one husband material.
I'm actually single, so
that's a nice husband material. We'll jot it down for the ladies.
All my ladies.
Anyway, so, now coming back to what she said, you can date a particular type of girl and you can't marry the type of girl. I wouldn't want to attack you personally on that, but would you want your sister to fall into any of those categories?
I think it should be me trying to make my sister understand that you don't have to dress in certain ways. These are ways you're supposed to dress. Or basically, I just have to tell my sister, just try and be a decent person. That's just it. That's just
no, but is decency all about dressing?
No.
Because you can be wearing hijab as your outfit, and you could still be a prostitute on the street.
Of course, appearance matters. We can never forget about
no,
that.
it's very important. They say the way you dress is the way you are being addressed.
Yeah.
No problem. But then we find so many people that are dressed very decent, and who they are is not who they appear to be.
Yes.
So, in as much as we want to, yes, no doubt, you should appear decent. You should look well packaged. You should look elegant. As I believe, as a lady, you should always look elegant. You should have that aura and courage with you that when someone sees you, they'll say, "Oh, this is a lady." I had a teacher back then in primary school that hammers on the fact that a lady should be seen and not heard, and I grew up with that. As a lady, you should be seen and not heard. In as much as we see it as them being trying to hold the girls down, or this cultural training that is trying to make girls quiet and all, but it's actually, if you look at the end of the day, to be a complete package, to be a lady, I believe you should be seen, not heard. You should always look elegant. You should always look poised. You should always have some level of courage. That is how I believe a lady should be. Now, I don't see it as being hampering or holding you back in any way.
But decency also applies to men as well.
Yes, decency
because
also
you're a
applies
man
to
doesn't mean you should come stinking with body odor
And your
torn
trousers-
jeans and
Exactly.
with funny
Hair.
hairstyle as well. So decency is also
To men.
as well, men and women. We know, we look at the cultural perspective, the environment in which we live in, the acceptable ways of dressing. Do you understand? And both men and women should also conform to it if they want to.
I'll support you on that. I think the society is not being fair to ladies.
Exactly.
The issue of wife material, husband material, the attention is more
On the
on
women.
wife material. They are actually not taking note of if the guy is a good husband material and all that. So
No, my pain with this is you go on Twitter, especially you go on Twitter, you go on social media, and you see a girl saying, "I went to my boyfriend's house, I cooked, I washed his clothes, I went to the market, I made so and so soup, wife material 1,000 yards." I'm like, is that the guarantee?
And I think it's funny because I've been married almost 16 years. And when I was going out with my husband, I didn't do any of those things. If let's say he comes to visit me and I cook, because then I love cooking, because I'm a foodie, you know, and I have food. We eat. If we don't have food, if I don't have anything and we need to eat, I'll say, let's go out and eat. Even as I am now, even though I'm married, I love to eat out a lot, tasting restaurants, you know, and that doesn't take away who I am, you know. I have children too, and I love taking them out to eat. My husband is not the type of person that eats out, basically, anyway. So, and he's not even adventurous when it comes to food. He's very boring. And once you give him the tuwo and the, you know, okra or the vegetable, he's okay, you know. But once in a while, when you bring something different, he will taste it, you know. But then, be that as it may, I do not believe that going to cook, wash, and do all the things that some ladies say they do to prove their so-called wife material makes them better women. I actually find it very funny. And I even feel sorry for them. I was like, you mean you have to do all this just to get a man? You know?
No, that is a good thing we have a man in our middle here now. What does a lady, to you, what would you see in a woman and say, this is a homely woman, this is my wife material to me?
I listed a few earlier on.
Or say, for instance, you have a girl that comes into your life with that ideology of, I need to cook, I need to clean, would you stop her?
Cooking, it's not a priority for me, like I said earlier on. So if she wants to cook, fine. If she doesn't cook, it's not a problem for me. So since I basically look out for someone with great sense of humor, I really appreciate that. If you are funny, I will definitely take you serious. Then you should be God-fearing.
Comedian in your life. I think but then now, as a man, do you think your husband material enough to the woman you are listing out like this?
I think they will be the best persons to answer that. I can't patronize myself.
Exactly. So fine, since you're the man, your own idea of husband material, what's your idea of husband material?
Of course, you have to be God-fearing. You have to be
when
ambitious.
God-fearing, what do you mean?
Someone who has respect for God, someone who is prayerful, someone who has good moral standards. Back to the list, you have to be ambitious in order to be a good husband material. You can't be a guy who is laid back, who doesn't care about his future, his well-being, and you expect a good woman to come to your way. And you have to be mature as well in handling situations. So I think those are just the basic
I'm going
qualities.
to use the husband material right now. For me, I think the husband material, for those of us that are still single, yes, you have to be God-fearing when it comes to morals, and then you should have a good sense of humor. That is one. You should be a good gist partner. You should be a friend, not just a husband. And then most importantly, you should be very hardworking. That is what most ladies look out for. Someone that is very hardworking. Someone that, no doubt, I'm also hardworking myself. I'll put it all out there and bring it back home. But you should also be out there as well to bring it back home. We're a team. We should work together. I think basically that's it for most ladies. But you find, yes, another problem I have with girls is misplaced priorities. You ask a girl, what do you want to see in a man? Oh, he has to be handsome. He has to be buff. He should have 6 packs. Is that what you're going to eat at home? So I don't know, your mom, how do you educate your girls on what to look for?
Well, my children are really very little.
You have the opportunity now, in the future.
In the future, I'll just tell them somebody that is responsible, someone that is hardworking, that has a plan, for his future. Someone you see making the effort, either going to school, doing well in school, or if the person is working, he's making an effort. He knows his responsibilities, what to bring as a man, bring home, take care, food, security, protecting his family. Do you understand? Being there as a helpmate to support the family. Not this one that we have, we say washing and cooking. And I'm not bringing up my children to be house helps because there are people that their destiny is already house helps. And they are there to support those that are working. And apart from that, modern life, we have washing machines, we have microwaves, we have we have things that make life easier. The only thing is that maybe you can teach them so that maybe when there is no NEPA, they can't say because there is no NEPA to power the washing machine and diesel has finished, they can't wash what needs to be washed. You can teach them that, but I'm not training my children to be house helps. They will know the basics about taking care of themselves and their homes because they need to know whether male or female. Do you understand? They need to know to take care of themselves because before they even get married, even if you are a man, you have your own home. You have to take care of your home. You have to feed yourself. You can't sit down and be waiting for girls to come and take turns, to show wife material, to be cooking for you, to be washing for you. You need to show you too you are a husband material, to be able to cook for a girl. There is nothing more romantic than a guy that is dating you, that likes you, that comes to cook for you.
Oh my God.
Even now, if my husband enters the kitchen, cooks even rice and stew, I feel impressed. Even if it's not nice, I feel impressed, and it gives him that husband material. So I don't need him to come and say, tell me I have to be wife material. We should put ourselves on the same pedestal. What I expect from a man, he should expect from me. You understand? So it should be a companionship, it should be a partnership, and you should all work together. There shouldn't be certain skills that should be for men or female or for the man or for the woman. We've gone beyond that now. We are living in, they say, the modern era.
world.
So we should move beyond the Neanderthal village, olden days way of thinking, that oppressed and suppressed so many of our mothers, that kept them in bondage and made them look old and haggard before their time.
But it's really going to be quite difficult getting that ideology out now. This issue of it, I'll get to you now. This issue of it has made has brought about feminism and has brought about some radical feminists. This issue of, I don't want to be that woman that will wake up in the morning and cook and clean and wash and take care of children and take them to school. Now, we've had different categories of people. We've had those that have come out to say, I don't even want a man in my life because this is what he will subject me to. We've had those that have come out to say, okay, I can handle a man in my life, but I don't think I want kids because maybe if we start having kids, a lot to be expected of me. And we've had those that have come out to say, I can have a man in my life, I can be married, I can be happily married, and I can run both. Now, what's your take on that?
Well, I think, the issue of feminism is another topic that will take a long time, and it's been misconstrued.
Yes.
A woman that gets up, maybe she's married and has children and says, I don't want to be the one to get up, to start cooking food, to start doing that is irresponsible. It has nothing to do with feminism. Okay. First of all, you need to eat. Your husband needs to eat. Your children need to eat. The home needs to be run. No matter how high you are in your career, the home needs to be run. Even if you are going to pay people to run the home, you have to give instruction. So you have to wake up to make your home run. Feminism, it's not telling you that you can't do this, you can't do that. At least that's not my understanding of feminism. But as a woman, there are certain responsibilities you have to display, to run the home. It doesn't mean you have to be the one to cook. But you give instruction. You tell the house help or the chef, go and make fry yam and eggs for the children's breakfast. Then you make sure it is done. You don't have to be in the kitchen to do it, but you make sure it is done. Then you wake up, you make sure the house is swept or cleaned, whether it's vacuumed or it's broomed, that is done every day. You don't need to be the one to sweep, but you give instruction to whoever you are paying to make sure the home is cleaned. That's one aspect of it. Then there are some people that say, well, they can't deal with the issues. Unfortunately, the Nigerian, should I say, life or culture has made marriage very unattractive for a lot of people. Because the way marriage is seen, like when I go on social media and I'm hearing about this wife material, husband material thing, it's as if marriage is slavery. Yeah. It's like once a woman gets married, that's the end of her life. Do you understand? So, I don't know, we need to make marriage more attractive and make it look more like a partnership, companionship. Do you understand? So that when you enter marriage, you don't see it as if it's the end of your life. It's a continuation of another phase of your life. So because of that, a lot of people are probably seeing what their mothers, their aunties, grandmothers, or females around them have gone through in the name of marriage. Suffering and smiling, enduring, submission. So they decided that, look, this marriage of a thing is not for them. Some are lucky. They may meet someone else that, kills that perception. Or they decide to go and marry Westerners or other people who have different perceptions of marriage. So we need to change the psychology around the definition of marriage. Then there are people that don't want to have children. I don't think it's a crime. It's only in our society that marriage is automatic. Go and have children.
Yeah, it's not bad that the moment you're married after 2 years, go and born. No, you don't want to give birth to your husband.
So we have to change the mindset.
I'll get back to you.
We have to change the mindset. The reality is that there are actually people that don't want children. That's why when you see or read about people that poured hot water on their children or injured their children because they couldn't, a 2-year-old could not say 1 to 200. There are so many stories we see about the way some people brutalize their own children, not stepchildren or adopted children, their own children. It is obvious they didn't want those children. They see those children as a burden. So we need to accept or acknowledge the fact that there are some people that either do not deserve children or don't want children. And we should let them be, rather than putting pressure on them to have children.
Now, Onu, as a young man, we find most men with unrealistic expectations from a woman. Now, there are most men that, the moment a woman is married to them, I don't want you to work, I want you to stay at home. Or even if you're going to work, you shouldn't do this kind of job. They give you specifications of job to do. What's your take on such men?
There are different strokes for different folks, like I said earlier on. For me, as a person, when I'm married, at that young age of my kids, I honestly want my wife to be around to take care of them. I would prefer my wife taking care of my kids.
So you rather she won't do anything, she'll say
she can be doing a part-time job or something. But I honestly want that motherly affection for my kids, especially at that tender age, between when they are born to let me say age 4 or 5. That motherly affection should be there. And for the you saying men are being unrealistic about things in the family, there are some men like that. The fact that you are a man doesn't mean when you wake up in the morning you don't do some little chores. You can wake up in the morning, fix breakfast for your wife. There's no harm in doing that. Perhaps it's because I'm the type of person that likes cooking. I don't see any big deal in that. I can wake up at any time, fix breakfast. I can do the basic cleaning in the house if we don't have a house help. But for my wife, I wouldn't want her to be fully away, especially at that tender age for my
kids.
Yes, she should be always there for them. The motherly love should be there.
Do you agree with that?
No, I believe that couples should sit together and decide what is best for them. There's nothing wrong with what he has said. Do you understand? It's just those discussions you have before marriage. And you tell her, this is the way I want it, before, at least until they are 4 or 5. I don't want you to do any work. I want you to concentrate on taking care of the children. There's nothing wrong with that. Those conversations should happen before the marriage. Not when people are married, then you now start making rules and regulations, which a lot of people find themselves in. Situations where this is not what we planned. This is not what we discussed. There's nothing wrong with that, So, and well, just to add about motherly care, there's this assumption that once you're a housewife, you'll be at home taking care of your children. We know many housewives that is telemundo.
From morning till
night. Morning till night. So the kids are even outside playing with neighbors' children. They don't even know where they are. So that is an assumption. Just like it's an assumption that career women don't take care of their children. By nature of the fact that you're a career woman, you need to plan your time. Most of the time, the children are probably in daycare or school by the age of 4 or 5. They're in school anyway. Do you understand? When they come home, you can map out particular times where you're sitting with them, helping them with homework, So there are different ways, you can be creative when you're running your family. It's all about having a conversation. What works for him may not even work for me.
Yeah, sure.
No, I think when it comes to the part of being a career woman, it doesn't stop you from having time for your children. I'm a mom, and it's quite easy. I wouldn't say it's not easy. It's not easy at all.
Yeah.
But I still try to create as much time. My baby's still very young, but I still days he's not with me in the office. I'm rushing to go back home in time to have that time for him and help out with whatever I can do, but just to make sure I'm there for him. And I intend to have that go on for his early first years of his life before he gets to crèche and all. So I think it's not easy being a mom and merging it up with your career. And I kind of imagine having it alongside with a husband to cater for, because people say men are matured babies. So it's actually not easy. Kudos to the women out there. We're really struggling and going through a whole lot. And I appreciate the fact that as a man, you are liberal minded. I was expecting to have a man that would say, no, my wife must pound yam. Oh, no, man. That would be women.
It's like an exception. Because most men, I've had situations whereby a couple of friends of mine, the guys are the ones that cook. Maybe because they like cooking, they didn't marry on time. They like cooking, maybe they were the last born. So they ended up having to cook or learning to cook. Then maybe the girls they married, either they don't like cooking, but then they have interference from the guy's family. Saying that why should you be the one when you have a wife? But between them, they have that understanding and they are managing themselves. But when you come for a visit, you come and see it, then you want to turn everything upside down. So I believe that the problem with Nigeria is that there is too much emphasis or focus or such light on couples. There is too much pressure. Interference. So people should learn to mind their business. What happens in my house is my business. We've agreed between the two of us. It's not a problem. So you can't just come and visit in my house and see one or two things and make an assumption, then go and have family meeting. It doesn't work. We need to stop that and focus on our own issues.
No, I think on my part, basically, what we need to do is to work on our girl child. Before now, I would say I'm a very cultural person. I'm still one of those that believe in, okay, yes, I call it womanism. You can be whatever you want to be as a woman. As a girl, you can do whatever you want to do. You can go to whatever length you want to do, but never forget your roots. Never forget what you should do. Like you rightly said, you need to eat first of all. You need to feed your husband. You need to feed your kids. So while you are at your career chasing and all of that, you don't forget what you have at home. I had a lady come up here and say, I'm at work. I'm home. With my kids and my husband. Nothing takes me back to work so long as I'm home. And that is it. You should learn how to ration your time, know when you're at work, prioritize. That's very important. Prioritizing, know when you're at work, And then to our young girls out there, very important, you should have value for yourself first. It still boils down to self-love. You should have that self-love for yourself before you have someone appreciate. You should be able to appreciate yourself. But it meant where you always feel inferior and you always feel like, if I don't do this, this man will not be with me. My dad would always say, you chase men, you're not supposed to chase men, they're supposed to chase you. So by the time you start chasing men, you get to a stage where they are running away from you because you're the one chasing. Am I lying?
No.
You have a girl that's chasing you.
Yes,
Like,
I know the irony of it is that the harder you are, the more interested you are. When you give them everything
on a platter,
they never appreciate
it.
So then tomorrow they will say men are this, men are that. Then you start changing boyfriends and man friends but you are giving them everything free.
Yes.
Sometimes let's go back to that posing.
Yes.
Playing hard to get. A man appreciates what he struggles for.
I think we have a man here. We have a man here.
Yeah, true. No doubt about that. If you get something too easily, you tend to lose value for it. You let me struggle to get your attention. Let me work hard. Let me think about those lines that will mesmerize you. I think that's just it basically. If you come to me and you keep giving me the green light.
No, we have men that will like, oh no, I love it when a lady comes up to me and say, oh, I like you and I want us to be together.
How many are you going to stay with? Because if one can come, definitely another will follow. Are you going to keep accommodating them all? It doesn't work that way. So you just have to look at them all. This is what I want and go for it.
This is what you want. Okay. But then again, it still boils down to I think I'll still agree with the fact that as a woman you should give yourself a level of value.
It's self-esteem.
But
unfortunately, the society doesn't place much value.
The moment they find a girl with self-esteem, she's proud. Oh, she doesn't have home training. Her mother did not train. That's the annoying part. It's not her father. Her mother did not train her well. It's never her father. So it's the society is when it comes. Society is on a disadvantage when it comes to.
There are so many expectations on the girl child, and none from the man.
None from
the man can roam around. He can be in fact anyhow. It's not a problem as long as he's a man. You hear women say, "Go and bring a man." Anything a man. So me too. I will say I am a mother-in-law. Do you understand? And it's so ridiculous.
The beautiful part is I've actually seen women that just want to get married. They just want to get married. That is it. So anything that looks like a man that can just be in the house and I am married, let the title change from Miss to Mrs. It's enough. And then you find them being in so many unhappy marriages. When you look at the marriage from outside, you're like, how did this woman end up with this man?
Honestly.
And then you realize that she's not even entwined with the marriage because she just wants to have the name change. And it doesn't make sense anymore.
So we need to encourage our daughters to value themselves and marry someone that values them.
Very important question.
Because
you're a man. What would you tell your daughter in the future? Word of advice to your daughter.
My wife has the responsibility, not a sole responsibility to bring them. I'm not done. To bring my kids up. While she's doing that, I too will be doing that also. You have to be a decent person. You don't have to run after men. If you have these moral standards, definitely men will come to you. And that's just it basically. When they are well brought up, going forward wouldn't be a problem for them. Yeah. Well, I think it all boils down to home training, how they are brought up. If they are well brought up, when it gets to that society pressure and all that, Funke is married, Anita is married, I'll be 30 in 2 months time and all that. It's one of the reasons why some ladies settle down for, like you said, just changed my name from Miss to Mrs. So it's not as if it's their free will or anything like that. I will ensure my daughter has this self-esteem. You don't have to be under any form of pressure in order to settle down or whatever it is. If you see a man you like, you feel this the kind of man I can spend the rest of my life with, go ahead and do that. You shouldn't fall to societal pressure or due to the fact that you are getting old and no one is coming and all that, then you decide to settle for less.
I think he said a very good point, but I want to disagree with him because she would agree with me that when it comes to training a girl child, yes, the mother has to work, her own loads of jobs to do, but I realize, don't you think it comes from the father as well?
I feel it's a joint effort. Yeah. You can't just say because he's a mother, the mother should train.
Because I know my dad.
Understand?
My dad was a soldier without uniform. Oh my God. He'll tell you, you will chase the man, you will chase him, then you, at the end of the day, he will run away and leave you. Then you will not tie scarf and go to church and be shouting, God send me husband. So I grew up with that in my head every day until date I'll be like, no, I can't chase a man. If the man is meant for me, he will come to me. If he's not meant for me, then we're not going to be. So I think with that, our time has actually run out. And then to sign out this morning, a word out there to our ladies: self-esteem is very important. Self-confidence, how you carry yourself. Be a lady. Don't be any girl on the street that's chasing. No. Be a lady. Have courage. Have voice. Your self-esteem should be top-notch. And with that, you find kings falling at your feet, wanting to be with you, wanting to know, okay, this is a lady. This is who she is. She's a complete package. And then when they get to know you, they realize that you're more beautiful inside than you are on the outside. The courage you're having, the packaging you have outside is actually more on the inside. Don't just be an open book to anyone that comes into your life. And with this, I think we're going to wrap up the show this morning. I hope you've learned a whole lot. I hope we've educated you. We've touched one or two things, and I hope we've actually changed your mindset on a whole lot of things. Well, it's New Day here on PTV, and with me, Liliana Gazi, signing out this morning. Do have a blessed day. And do stay tuned on PTV. We have a whole lot of activities wrapped up for you. Our news is going to be coming up much later. Stay tuned on our live our website and our social media platforms to get you updated on all activities happening in the polity this morning. Do have a great day.